What a headshot! What a head!
How's it guys, this is Dayvy, FPL, and welcome back to the Fantasy Premier League video here on my channel. Now in this video, I will take you guys through my very own team selection for the upcoming Double Game Week 29. So the biggest Double Game Week of this season is just a few days away. I'll be taking you guys through my very own team selection leading up to that deadline stream where hopefully we'll see most of you there. Now as with every team selection, I'm going to first take a look at how Game Week 28 went, blank Game Week 28. I know it feels like it was forever ago. This international break has been pretty drawn out, so I'll be going over a very quick review of that. I'll then be showing you guys the actual team currently with no transfers made to give you guys the context so it makes the transfer plan a little bit clearer. I'll also be detailing some future moves that I do have in the pipeline, so make sure that you guys stay tuned for that. Without further ado, sit back, relax, and let's get straight into it. So going over a very quick review of blank Game Week 28, luckily as a Liverpool fan, Liverpool blanked, my weekend wasn't ruined, my international break wasn't ruined by them losing yet again. But unfortunately it was kind of ruined by the red arrow that we got. It was a very small red arrow, I think about 10k places, and we're currently sitting at the 235k mark. Now in terms of the green arrow or red arrow, it pretty much was all down to captaincy, and unfortunately we didn't get the right captain this week. So bottom right hand side, 2 free transfers, 8.1 million left in the bank, so we can make a massive upgrade heading into Double Game Week 29. Now I'm going to start off on our bench because honestly guys, there's not much to talk about in terms of a blank Game Week bench. Raya was the only player that featured and he got us 2 points. Matoma, March and Estupiñán, my kind of Brighton triple up, didn't sell any of them and they look to have some massive doubles coming up. So let's go on to our starting 11 and comparing Kepa to Raya. Unfortunately we played the wrong goalkeeper, luckily though, only 1 point difference. Kepa having a little bit of a surprising game there, conceding 2 to Everton, and the last goal was actually in the dying seconds. So I went into this game week hoping for a Kepa clean sheet. That wasn't the case, but with most managers bringing in Chilwell, I might have actually avoided that kind of double clean sheet wipeout. Heading into our back line, and it was a quadruple of 2s. We've got Trippier, Botman, Henry, and Gabriel all ending on 2 points, and the most significant one of those 2 points was going to be Henry. So as mentioned, most managers actually brought in Chilwell this week. Henry to Chilwell was a super popular move. I kept Henry and actually got 1 point bonus there because Chilwell ended on only 1 point. Then in terms of Trippier and Botman, was a little bit disappointed because I thought they would get us some clean sheets, but I guess most FPL managers in the top ranks have this double up. Then finally Gabriel, what happens with him the week we actually start him and he's not on our bench? He ends up blanking and not getting us a 14 pointer. But like with Arsenal, a couple of surprise kind of concedings here. Would have really liked for Gabriel to keep a clean sheet, but as with Newcastle, most FPL managers own an Arsenal defender. Now heading into midfield department, and I'm going to start off with Rashford on the right hand side, was our blank game week player in our starting 11. So yes, we only actually had 10 starting players for blank game week 28. We then have Odegaard who also blanked like his colleague Gabriel, but then we have Bukayo Saka who got a massive haul. He ended on 18 points. So if you guys did captain Saka, you would have got a green arrow, and that's what I was talking about. You either captained Saka or you didn't. And if you did probably own a Maddison, you might have got a green arrow, but unfortunately we didn't. So in terms of Saka, I think in terms of the Odegaard versus Saka debate, who to sell, Saka's put it heavily in his favour, but don't be too short-sighted on just blank game week 28. Heading into our forward department, the transfer we made was going to be Ollie Watkins in for Erling Haaland. Luckily though, Erling Haaland didn't have a fixture because Ollie Watkins only got 5 points. Let's hope though in Double Game Week 29 Ollie Watkins outperforms Erling Haaland, otherwise this transfer will be a massive disappointment. Now between Watkins and Havertz currently leading that debate in terms of blank Game Week 28, but he did unfortunately get injured in this international break, but he still might be fine for Double Game Week 29. But we'll take the assist from Ollie Watkins at the end of the day because as mentioned, Haaland didn't even have a fixture, so currently 5 points net gained on that transfer. Same can't be said about Ivan Toney, only the 2-point appearance, but the most important factor of this game is that he managed to escape a yellow card. Then finally our captain was going to be Harry Kane, only got us the 1 goal, 12 points total, and when comparing that to Saka, that's quite a lot of points difference. Now Kane was the favoured captain option for blank game week 28, so that's why even if you went for Saka, just the differential points would have been absolute gold. But as usual, you guys can let me know how your blank game week 28 went. Was it a green arrow for you, was it a red arrow, and where are you guys currently sitting in the ranks? Now before we get on to the actual transfer plan and showing you guys my team or my current team for Double Game Week 29, I want to give you guys an announcement. The bench boost will be active, hopefully this game week. Now I say hopefully because I will be waiting for those Friday press conferences, which I would advise you guys to as well, because if there's some massive injuries, for example Rashford's going to be out, let's just say a few other options are injured, then obviously the bench boost won't be as effective. But I do plan to use the bench boost, and I don't really think we're going to have that many injuries. As you guys would have known, these international duty injuries are usually pretty slight. I do think the bench boost this week is going to be quite valuable if you guys can get a good bench, but now that the Game Week 34 doubles have been confirmed, you could also move it to that game week. But like I always say, I do love the bench boost plus the wildcard combination, so I would only bench boost probably in 34 if you guys still do have the wildcard. If you guys are planning to bench boost, comment your benches down below. Just remember that you should be putting probably your lowest scoring players on your bench, as if you are going to be bench boosting someone like a Rashford, I might not take it that seriously. But drop it in the comments down below what your bench is currently looking like. But now heading on to our actual team selection for the upcoming game week. This will be before any transfers are made, so you guys will see bottom right hand side 2 free transfers still to be made, and I can see myself using both of them heading into double game week 29. So let's start off with the bench, and as mentioned, this will be the bench boost, so don't worry, the bench looks absolutely stacked, but we'll be bench boosting and hopefully getting us a few points. Now I've tried to be as realistic as possible if I was to kind of go into this kind of double game week 29 without a bench boost, what my bench would look like. So I've put most of my single game week players on my bench, and the ones in my starting 11 I probably will transfer out, but I'll go over those as I go over the team. So we got the double up of the Brentford defense, Raya and Henry, not too likely to get too many points there. Brighton away, Man United away, tough defensive games on paper. But maybe we can hope for some points, some save points from Raya, maybe an assist or a goal from Henry. Is that too much to ask for? Probably, but I guess we can dream. We then have our 2 single game week players, Harry Kane against Everton away, great game on paper. Spurs have just lost their manager, but maybe they'll have a new manager bounce. So let's hope for a Harry Kane Hattie. Then we have Bukayo Saka currently on our bench. Leeds at home is a great fixture on paper. Arsenal look red hot, Saka looks red hot. So super happy that I can keep him for this game week. So in terms of the bench projections, I always say anything about 15 points or more is a good bench. 20 points or more is a great bench. So let's hope for 20 points plus. Heading on to our starting 11, and we've got Kepa in goal, Aston Villa at home, Liverpool at home. He probably would be my chosen goalkeeper, as Ray's fixtures aren't that great. Now, do I see Chelsea keeping a clean sheet in both these games? Probably not. Aston Villa, Liverpool, both very good attacking sides, so maybe Kepa can get us a few save points. We then have the double up in the Newcastle defense, United at home, West Ham away. I'm hoping for a clean sheet in the second game. West Ham away should hopefully be one, but Newcastle defense has been pretty bad over these past couple of game weeks. Now, Botman has returned to training. I know you guys would have seen in the Netherlands camp, he actually pulled out due to illness, but he was training yesterday according to Newcastle's Twitter page. Now, obviously Trippier has the high ceiling here, offers that attacking threat, but these 2 games might be quite tough. Then we have a Stupinan, and is a Stupinan even in the UK at the current moment? Who kinda knows? You guys know that he was in Australia playing those friendly games, and we haven't had news that he's returned to training. But I do think he should be back, considering they did play on Tuesday, but Brighton do have the kickoff on Saturday, so let's hope that he is back in time. Now if he is back in time, great games on paper, Brentford at home, Bournemouth away, there should be at least 1 clean sheet there for Brighton, who have pretty good defensive stats according to the Ultimate Guide a few days ago. A Stupinan obviously offers that attacking threat, so he could also get an assist, which would be quite handy. Then our final defender to go for in this back 4 is going to be Gabriel. Now Gabriel could be on the way out in terms of a single game week player, but I'll talk about that in my transfer plan coming up. Now Leeds at home, this should be a clean sheet for Arsenal at the end of the day, but also the defense has also been conceding a few over the past couple of game weeks. Now we'll be talking about Gabriel a little bit later on, so now let's go into our midfield department. Now I'm going to start off with a player that will probably be on the way out of our FPL team as well. Another Arsenal player here, unfortunately, that single game week versus a double game week. It's quite hard to keep the Arsenal player. So Odegaard will be on the way out probably from our team. Now do I think he's a bad option? 100% not. I think he's a great option. And if you guys do want to keep him, that's 100% fine. I'm just going for a more medium term move. Now I mentioned this between Saka and Odegaard, it's quite close. I think Odegaard might provide better value, but I think Saka's the better FPL hold at the end of the day. But if you guys can't afford to kind of sell Odegaard for whoever you want, selling Saka is perfectly fine in my opinion. Now the next player will probably be our captain, definitely the safe captain for Game Week 29's double. It's me, Marcus Rashford, with Newcastle away and Brentford at home. Now Rashford currently was missing the international break due to injury, just to make sure that he is going to be back for this upcoming double. He was in individual training this week, which doesn't give us much information, so make sure that you guys wait for that 10-hour press conference coming up on Friday. Now if he is going to be back for the upcoming double, he'll be my captain, one of the most informed players in the world at the moment, and I do think United score in both these games. Now the next 2 options I definitely consider to be the best differential captains, might even be the best captains for this game week. It's quite hard to predict which one's going to score the most points. Obviously I am talking about the Brighton mids. I own Matoma and Solly March, and they have great fixtures like Estupinan against Brentford at home and Bournemouth away. Now it's quite hard to predict out of these 2 who's going to score the most points. Now if you guys do own McAllister, he'd probably be my standout captaincy option, but I don't own him so I can't captain him. But Matoma was also travelling quite a lot, was playing those international friendlies for Japan, so like Estupinan, just make sure that he's back in training. That's the nice thing about Solly March, I guess, because he had a full international break off, so if you guys do want to captain a fresh player with no international break duties, Solomon March is your man. Now finally heading to our forward department, Ivan Toney, will he avoid the yellow card in the first game? Who kinda knows, but against Brighton away and United away, I guess the expectations aren't that high there. But Brentford usually play better against the better teams, so let's see what happens in Game Week 29. Then our final option, the newly transferred in Ollie Watkins, Chelsea away, Leicester away. Good games on paper. Chelsea have been conceding a few, and Aston Villa are looking quite good from an attacking point of view. So quite comfortable owning him, but I do think Kai Havertz, if he does outperform Ollie Watkins yet again, this transfer would have been a mistake. But as you guys can see, the starting 11 looks pretty stacked. Guess you guys would have expected this after the wildcard a few game weeks ago. But now let's see in terms of our transfer plan how we can improve this. Now before we get into the transfer plan for double game week 29, I want to give you guys some insight into a future move that I'll be doing next game week 30. Now that transfer, as you guys would have expected, I've spoken about this in my transfer plan last week, it's Ivan Toney out for Erling Haaland. So not having Erling Haaland this week is painful enough. I want to get him in as fast as possible, and the first opportunity I see is going to be game week 30. So Ivan Toney to Erling Haaland is a no-brainer transfer for me. Ivan Toney might even be suspended for game week 30 depending on the yellow card situation. Now obviously Toney to Haaland is a massive upgrade, and that's why I need to keep some money in the bank, but I currently do have 8.1 million left there. So what I'm reminding you guys about this is, please, in terms of your own team, don't just look at these transfers for this week, look at the future moves, because you want to make a transfer that blocks off this move next game week. So what you guys can almost do on your transfer page is take out Ivan Toney, whoever you want to replace, bring in Erling Haaland, and before you confirm your moves, just redo the move. I just don't want you guys to block any future moves, as this is definitely the part of the season where you guys have to plan for the future. But now let's go back to our actual 2 free transfers for double game week 29, and the first one looks pretty locked in. It's unfortunately going to be Odegaard out for Bruno Fernandes. Now this move in my opinion looks pretty kind of a set. It's a no-brainer to bring in kind of a United attacker for the future double game weeks, and Bruno's the option I'd look at besides Marcus Rashford. Now their double this game week isn't the best, but after that Everton at home, Nottingham Forest away, great fixtures on paper even after game week 32. Now obviously I'll also be using the free hit in game week 32, so bringing in a United attacker is made even better. If you guys aren't going to free it in game week 32, you might just want to keep Odegaard or Saka because they obviously have a fixture in that game week. Now there's an alternative that I could also make. Instead of going for Bruno, I could also go for James Maddison, as I do like him for a more short-term punt. I think over the next 2 fixtures, the double in 29 and the fixture in game week 30 is better, but I guess after that he does have Man City, but also a fixture in game week 32. So Maddison will be more of a short-term punt over the next 2 game weeks. I think he's better. Then I could always move for Bruno Fernandes in game week 31. But right now the conservative approach is currently winning, and that's why Bruno looks like the transfer in. Now please watch out for the price rises, because last night Odegaard was expected to drop, Bruno was expected to rise. That didn't happen, so that might happen tonight. So make sure that if your money's quite tight, you make the move tonight. So with 1 free transfer used on probably the Bruno in move, there's going to be another transfer used on probably our defensive department, and it's going to be between 2 options. The first option is going to be Gabriel, our single game week defender. He has Leeds at home, which as mentioned is a pretty good fixture, but then after that, the fixtures don't look as nice. Liverpool away, West Ham away will be free hitting in game week 32 anyways, so we could always bring Gabriel back in on that free hit. So the single game week player could make way for a double game week player, or we could take a double game week player out in the form of Henry for Brentford. The reason for Henry out is obviously those fixtures in game week 29 aren't that great. Brighton away, United away, can't see a clean sheet there, so we'd almost be relying on attacking returns. Then after that, Newcastle at home, Wolves away. The fixtures are okay after that, but I'll probably just bench him anyways in terms of my starting 11. So that's kind of the first debate to go over between Gabriel and Henry, is the fact that they do have a price difference. Gabriel coming in quite a lot more expensive, about 0.6 more expensive, and I'll probably bench Gabriel in the future game weeks anyways. So do you want that extra money in the bank for future moves? Maybe. I don't think that's that necessary, as I'll probably look to downgrade Harry Kane for Salah anyways come game week 33 or 34. Now that price difference does come into effect for the short term move, as if I do go for Gabriel out, I might be able to afford a keeper upgrade come game week 31. Now while I'm talking about game week 31 is, as mentioned, I'll be fritting in game week 32, so I want to bank a transfer in game week 31, as that free transfer will be negated after my free hit. So the transfer I'm currently looking at is an upgrade on the goalkeeper department. It's probably Raya to Edison or Alisson. You guys know why in game week 34 they have a double game week, so Edison or Alisson could come in clutch. So Gabriel out does offer me that extra transfer before game week 32's free hit, which does look quite nice. But the last factors to incorporate is in game week 29, who do I think scores more points, Gabriel against Leeds at home or Henry with his double game week? Honestly, I think it's super close between these two. I think I'd slightly give it towards Gabriel. I trusted Arsenal defense slightly more, but I guess Henry could get us an assist at the end of the day. So what this debate does come down to is points this week versus future moves, as will Gabriel outperforming Henry this week score more than a future transfer of Edison or Alisson in? I think currently I'm leaning towards maybe keeping Gabriel as that Arsenal option. Thinking against Leeds, he could actually get a little bit of a haul, whereas I don't trust that Brentford defense as much. But between these two, it's a super 50-50. I could go for either of them. Comment down below who you would transfer out. So for our transfer plan, let's select one of these two options. I'm going to select Henry out just because it makes slightly more sense in terms of the upcoming double game week. So Henry out will be a replacement for Luke Shaw, as I do like him for the long term. So like with Bruno, you bring these United assets in for the short term and the medium term, as they do have doubles coming up in game week 34 onwards. Now yes, Casemiro missing is going to affect kind of the clean sheet odds. Don't exactly expect United to keep many clean sheets, at least in double game week 29, but afterwards, their fixtures still look pretty strong. Luke Shaw also offers that attacking threat, is on most set pieces, and his delivery has been pretty strong this season. So Luke Shaw's a no-brainer option here for me, and that's why these two transfers look pretty set in stone. Now I do want to go over an alternative that I could potentially go for, but this kind of negates the fact that I would do a future move for Edison or Allison. Now this move would actually be Gabriel out, not going for Luke Shaw, but going for Ben Chilwell. I think if you guys are on a free hit for game week 29, I would go for Chilwell over Shaw because of his attacking threat, even though I don't think there's going to be too many clean sheets in this one. But in terms of a future move, I do favor going for Luke Shaw over Ben Chilwell, as I think the fixtures are slightly better on paper. But I just want to show you guys an alternative move if you don't want to go for a Luke Shaw and you don't want to upgrade a Gabriel to Ben Chilwell. Now do I think I'll do this move? Probably not. I think I might go a little bit more conservative, go for the United assets rather, as there are better long-term holds. Now another transfer I wanted to showcase to you guys could be made for an additional minus for it, or it could just be a replacement if you guys want to go for it. It's going to be transferring Saka out for Maddison. So we spoke about going for Odegaard to Bruno Fernandes. That's why I could do an additional -4 and take out another Arsenal asset in Saka to Maddison. So do you guys think that Maddison scores more points than Saka plus a minus for it? He could actually do it this game week. Double game week 29 looks pretty strong, but as does Arsenal vs Leeds at home. I guess added to that, Maddison will probably be a transfer out, is currently on 8 yellow cards, so if he gets 2 more, he'll be suspended for a game. So that's why I don't think I'll really do this move, but if you guys do want to maybe take a punt, you could go for this. As mentioned, even if you don't want to go Odegaard out, you could do this move for free. I just want to show you guys some alternative moves because this game week has got everyone making hits. But in terms of the conclusion for my kind of transfer plan, I think the two moves that I'm more likely to do are Odegaard to Bruno Fernandes and then Henry out for Luke Shaw. Comment down below what your transfer plan is for this upcoming double game week and how's that squad actually looking. If you're on the bench boost as mentioned, comment your bench down below. Let's see who has the best one. But this is basically a wrap for the video, guys. Hopefully you did enjoy it. Don't like if you didn't subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. Hopefully we'll see you guys at the deadline stream coming up on Saturday where we do lock in that final bench boost squad. But I'm going to sign off. It's been Dayvy FPL and I'm out. Cheers, bye.